In the NBA 2K basketball series, the best way to tell how good a player is to check their overall. The closer your overall is to 99, the better you are according to 2K, and as we all know, 2K fucking sucks at it, but we're not going to talk about that right now. However, people usually know the higher overall players. What about the lower guys? The guys you really have to look for in the bottom of a team's roster. These guys are usually unknown, usually because of poor play compared to top players in the league, or they aren't well known enough to get a good upgrade. For example, when Hassan got his first career triple-double, he said in an interview that he wanted to get his 2K rating up. After that interview and after the next update, his rating went from a 59 to a 77. These type of players are the ones that we'll be looking at today, the bottom of the barrel, according to 2K at least. We'll be looking at the worst rated 2K players for the 2010s decade, specifically from NBA 2K10 to NBA 2K19, and seeing how their careers turned out from that point, with your boy, Alvini Linguine. Now, just so this video doesn't turn into an hour-long video, even though I'd like to make it that long, but I'm not gonna bore you off for that long. I won't talk about the whole entire careers like I usually do, but if you like this type of content, then do me a favor and press that little thumbs up on your screen and help support the channel. The like goal is the usual 1,000, but let's get on with the video, shall we? You already know who it is. Roll it!
He incurred an injury dealing with weights in the weight room, so he stitched up in the left hand doing all this.
First off, let's meet the worst rated player in NBA 2K10, Hassan Jin, at a whopping 40 overall, being the worst rated thing you can be in an NBA 2K game. Now the funny thing about him is he's been playing since 2004 and only played for 2 seasons, ending his NBA career after the 2005-2006 season. Now, he was also known as the first South Korean basketball player to ever play in the NBA. Think about how Simbular was the only person of Indian descent to play in the NBA, but slightly better. But something interesting I found is that he didn't even seem to play basketball professionally in a 5-year span from 2006 to 2011. Now usually in 2K, if you are in the NBA for 2 years, you are usually taken out of the game entirely. So I guess it's justified to give a nigga who hasn't played basketball that long a 40 overall. But since then, he has been playing in the South Korean KBL since 2011, where he's been playing his best season of 13 points and 10 rebounds a game and a block a game on 58% shooting. Since then, his production has dropped little by little every year, and as of now, he's playing in the KBL as a 34-year-old man and isn't doing too much as a 7'3" center. But hey, it be like that sometimes. For the worst rated player in 2K11, this unfortunate award goes to Hassan Jin. Nigga, what the fuck? He's actually the worst player 2 games in a row? Well, if you've been listening, I already talked about him once, so to compensate, I'll give you some fun facts. His NBA career high was 18 points. He's only played 46 games total in his 2-year career. He's nicknamed the Hulk overseas. Let's see what else I got here. He's won 2 bronze medals in the FIBA Asia Cup. Okay, y'all satisfied? Y'all had enough Hassan Jin content for today? Good. On to the next game. For the worst player in NBA 2K12, let me introduce you to Brian Scalabrine and Byron Mullins, as they both have 40 overalls in the game. And for the people who I know that are going to put something about Brian Scalabrine only using 1% of his power like we're in some fucking anime type beat, please hold your comments. Anyways, let's talk about the boomer version of Alex Caruso first. In the season before he was given this worst rating of 40 overall, he was with the Bulls averaging a point a game in 18 games played. But at least in the next season, he played 28 games total, if that means anything. Now, does he deserve that 40 overall? In my opinion, not really. But we do have to consider that in earlier 2K games, they were definitely a lot more harsher when it came to ratings, rather than how highly they rate player nowadays. Since that legendary season, he has played in the EuroLeague that same year somehow for the Universo dell'Only Treviso of the Italian A-League, while averaging 4 points in EuroLeague play and 9 points overall. Not that much more impressive, but hey, it's Brian Scalabrine doing his thing. Since then, he has had many ventures, like being a reporter for the Celtics, beating hecklers that think he sucks at basketball, and playing in Ice Cube's Big 3 League. He has done many things in the league and is truly the people's champion for being one of the more human players in the league, just like his current day counterpart, Alex Caruso. Next tied with Brian is Byron. You don't know how many times it took me to say that without getting my tongue tied. But anyways, Byron was also rated 40 overall. What was significant about this was that Byron was part of that 7-59 Bobcats team the year before, so as you can expect, not much happened. However, even though 2K rated him the lowest rated thing possible, he did do a little bit of something. That year, he averaged 9 points and 5 rebounds a game, unfortunately while shooting 42% from the field. Is that 40 overall status? Kinda, he shot terribly, but let's keep going. Anyways, after that year, he boosted his production to 10 points, though on worse efficiency. That 40 overall is looking real nice right now. After that, he was signed by the Clippers, don't ask, and then he was traded to the 76ers after that for a second round pick. That was the last time he's been in the NBA, and since then, he's either been playing in the G League or overseas. He is still playing as of right now in South Korea for the Busan KT Sonic Boom, as he averaged 13 points and 9 rebounds a game on 50% shooting. So at least he is keeping up his career overseas. Now for the worst rated player in 2K13, let's meet Kirilo Fonsenko, a 46 overall player from Ukraine. Now unfortunately for him, he was a free agent in this game, so let's just take a little look at his career and see if that 46 overall was deserving. He was drafted in 2007 in the second round to the 76ers and was traded to the Jazz later on that night because they needed a bigger presence in the paint. His career in Utah can be described as uneventful. He did play there for 4 seasons, but not that many games, but he did manage to stick around for his 2 rookie deals, and as you can see, he didn't really do that much while he was there. He did get signed by the Pacers after his second rookie deal, however, he only lasted 3 games and then got waived again. Since then, he's played a year in the G League and has been playing for a wide variety of teams in Europe. As of now, he's playing in the Ukraine for a team I won't even try to pronounce, averaging only 7 points and 5 rebounds a game. Kirilo is only 33 years old, so he still has more to offer overseas, but compared to other NBA talent when he was there, and especially right now, he does deserve that 46 overall, since he's never done much in the league, so his overall deserves to be dropped very low. But a 46 is kind of low, I'll be honest with you. The next player that we're going to talk about was rocking a 50 overall in 2K14. Let's meet Jason Collins. Some of y'all might not remember Jason, some of y'all might, who knows, but let's talk about him a little bit to jog your memory. His career has been long and very uneventful, where even in his 4th season, he had his best season statistically, averaging only 6 points and 6 rebounds a game. That tells you what type of person we're going to talk about. But it does take a lot to stay in the league for 13 seasons. But the year before he received his 50 overall rating, he played with the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards, where overall he only scored a point and a rebound a game in 38 games played. He even started 9 games, so that alone you would have thought it would have jumped his stats up a little bit, but it didn't since that's not the role he plays. But if you're still asking yourself, I know that name from somewhere, well, let me help you a little bit more. In August of 2013, Jason Collins told the world that he was actually gay. And of course, it sent the basketball world, well no, the sports world in a frenzy. Now something like this is commonplace for the most part in women's sports, but in men's sports, it's basically unheard of for a male athlete to be gay. Now, of course, there was nothing wrong with that, but as we all know, the world ain't a perfect place, so they weren't really taking it the best. At least when it came to how things would be affected in the locker room and with other players. But even with that issue, the Brooklyn Nets signed him and played him in 22 games, where just like the rest of his career, he didn't really do much, but outside of basketball, he made a bigger impact as his number 98 jersey was a top seller. After that season, he retired from basketball altogether, and as for the issue if he was a 50 overall and was it accurate, yes, of course it was. He only averaged like 2 points his whole entire career. For the winner of Worst Overall Player in NBA 2K15, rocking a 58 overall, meet Darnell Jackson. Now, one thing to quickly mention about Darnell is he hasn't played in the NBA since 2011, so that already shows evidence to the fact that he is the lowest overall player in 2K15. But when it came to his basketball career in the NBA, just like mostly everyone on this list, he didn't really do much at all. Darnell has only played a total of 3 years in the NBA with 3 different teams, and in his best year being his last year in 2010 with the Kings, he averaged 3 points a game and even started 3 games with them that season. But one more thing to also mention is that before the year 2K15 came out, he was playing in the CBA averaging a cool 22 points and 11 rebounds a game. But since it was against NBA level talent, then I can only imagine that 2K was going to give him a higher rating. Ever since then, Darnell has been playing all over Europe and Asia, playing basketball in the Philippines, Turkey, Venezuela, Germany, and even France. And in the 2019-2020 season, he's currently playing in Poland for a team I won't even attempt to say, averaging 6 points a game. So if you went from averaging 3 points to now 6 points in a new country, then yeah, you deserve being the worst rated NBA player in that game. So yeah, it's pretty accurate. No complaints here. Next, for the worst player of 2K16, my favorite 2K, is someone pretty known in the 2K/basketball community, James Denali, rocking a nice 57 overall, lower than our last entry of Darnell Jackson with a 58. How did he get to that point? Well, let's look at his career a little bit. After going undrafted after a 4-year college career at UC Santa Barbara, he spent his first year in the G League averaging 10 points a game for the Bakersfield Jam. Then the next year being the last year he was in the G League, he averaged 18 points a game, which was enough to give him 2 separate contracts with the 76ers and the Hawks in the 2013-2014 season. Now, of course, you're gonna ask me, how did he do? Well, he only played a total of 13 games with those 2 teams combined for 3 points on 32% from the field. For the non-stat heads out there, that's kind of bad. Because of that, he was waived from both teams, and he spent his time playing on summer league teams to sneak his way back into the NBA, and then he ended up playing overseas ball. Now, talking specifically about his time right before this game came out, being the 2014-2015 season, he played in Israel and in the Spanish ACB, averaging 17 points in Israel and 9 points in the Spanish ACB. But as we all know how ratings turn out in 2K games, they're in comparison to the NBA players, so his rating was indeed accurate to what it was back then. Since his infamous rating back then, which became the subject of many videos being made on him, he's continued to play overseas and even sorta had an NBA comeback in the 2018-2019 season with the Timberwolves, though he only lasted 13 games before getting waived again. As of the 2019-2020 season, he has played with the Shanghai Sharks in the CBA and has also played in EuroLeague for the Fenerbahçe Okur of the Turkish League, averaging 4 points in EuroLeague play. Not very good. So again, that worst rating was definitely accurate according to 2K. For the worst player of 2K17, let me introduce you to Devin Marble, who in this game had the worst rating of 61 overall. Devin's NBA career was definitely a short one, as he only lasted 2 years in the NBA with the Orlando Magic. But if there's one thing we know about the Orlando Magic, they are ass when it comes to developing young players. Sorry to y'all Magic fans out there, all 2 of you. But again, he didn't do much with the Magic, so he did end up getting the boot after his second season. The year before being a 61 in 2K17 with the Magic in the 2015-2016 season, he ended up playing 28 games and only averaged 2 points on 28% from the field and 25% from 3. I know that doesn't really matter, but it definitely showed in his 2K stats. Since then, he's been playing in many leagues overseas, though something changed in the 2019-2020 season when he was playing in Italy while not doing much. He then decided to go play in the G League, where he currently is with the Santa Cruz Warriors, averaging 12 points and 5 rebounds a game on almost 50% shooting. Also, it's worth mentioning that he did play with the Warriors in the preseason this year, so his NBA comeback might be a possibility, so be on the lookout for his name. You might be surprised. But someone you won't be surprised to see on our entry for the worst players on every NBA 2K roster of the 2010s is 2-time NBA champion, you heard me right, 2-time NBA champion Joel Anthony with a crisp 64 overall. Now, I'm sure everyone knows of Joel Anthony, but I guess I'll go on and say a few things about him to help the average NBA fan who's watching this video. By the way, if you made it this far, you're a legend. Anyways, Joel Anthony has been known to be the get the job done type of player. I don't know how he did this, honestly. If anything, he's kind of a worse version of Kendrick Perkins for those championship Heat teams. Want to know more evidence of this? Well, he never averaged more than 4 points a game, and he only has 1 double-double in his whole entire NBA career, and his career high in points is 13. You remember the first guy we talked about? His career high was 18, and he only played, 3-4 seasons in the league? He's been here so much longer, and his career high is 13. But again, that was just the role that he played. But it's still fascinating to think that the Miami Heat was able to do all the things that they did with a center like him. And as far as I remember, his 2K rating has never been that high either, so it doesn't really come as a surprise. But before that year where he's got his infamous worst rating in the game, he only averaged 1 point and 1 rebound a game with the San Antonio Spurs in the 2016-2017 season. So again, did you really expect anything different? Since then, he has not done much basketball-wise other than playing in Argentina in the Argentina A-League for a team I will no doubt but struggle with to say because I didn't listen to Spanish class, sorry Signorina Joseph, while averaging 8 points and 6 rebounds a game. He isn't playing this season, but I'm sure that he accomplished more than what people expected him to do in the NBA. Lastly, let's talk about the worst player in 2K19, Matthew Williams. Now, for those who will fact check me, Matthew and many other people in the 2K19 roster has a 65 overall rating, but since he's at the bottom and in the free agency, I felt like it was fair to use him as the winner of this infamous award. Now, the only reason I can imagine that he is so low is because him and many other players are on two-way deals from the G League. So just because of that, they're on an NBA roster. And because of them being on the NBA roster, 2K was basically forced to put them in the game. For Matthew specifically, before he was put in the game, he played in the G League and overseas. In the 2017-2018 season, in his surprisingly one and only season in the G League, he played for the Miami Heat's G League team and averaged 10 points. However, on 38% from the field, not efficient at all. So seeing that makes his rating quite fair at a 65. Even in his senior year at UCF, he averaged 15 points, but on 39% from the field. So I'm guessing bad field goal percentage and being inefficient is a trend for him. So again, his rating seems pretty accurate. Also, he's only played 3 games total in the NBA with the Heat. You know, not doing much in those games, so I'm not going to mention what his averages were, but just know he played 3 games in the NBA. Because of that, he decided to play overseas. While currently in the 2019-2020 season, he's playing in the Netherlands, averaging 14 points and 3 rebounds a game in league play. He still has so many more years to improve on his game overseas for a potential NBA comeback one of these days. But anyways, with Matthew ending the video, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Something I try to do with all of my videos is inform and entertain, so hopefully you learned something new today with this video. If you haven't, well, you're either lying to yourself because I know you don't know who Hassan Jin is, or you're literally Jesus Christ himself. I don't know where to go from there. But anyways, let's make the outro quick. Follow me on my social medias like my Twitter and my Instagram for sneak peeks of content I am making and what's going on in the life of Alvini. Follow me on my Twitch where I try to stream, or the second channel where I'll have uploads starting next week. And lastly, remember to leave a like and sub if you're new. But with that out of the way, let me stop wasting your time. This is your boy, Alvini Linguine, saying peace.